Why is it that most new believers seem to lose their relationships with the people around them instead of redefining them? You tell me. Bill?
Well, I just want to say that I lost some relationships because I was afraid. I thought my old friends would reject me for becoming a Christian, so I withdrew from them. And they're probably wondering what's happened to me. But I think I lost some other relationships because I made people feel uncomfortable, you know. Some of it was just sort of blundering around, preaching at them, and some of it was, I don't know, I stopped doing some things, and I think that they looked around for other people to do those things with.
Okay, we've all seen that. It's not always the Christian that breaks it off, is it? Thank you, Bill. So why is it that most new believers seem to lose their relationships with the people around them when they should be redefining them? If you haven't listened yet tonight, now is the time. God has placed you, most of you, as insiders somewhere in the world. Now think about this. Do your non-Christian friends see you as an insider or an outsider from their point of view? This is the world, not the church. Jesus is God becoming an insider to the world. You know people who will want to meet Christ once they get a good look at Him in your life. They're your friends and co-workers, spouses and children, your fellow students and teachers. They're probably not going to respond to a foreign missionary like me. They need to get a look at Jesus in the life of a local, somebody they already know. That's what Paul is getting at in 1 Corinthians 7 when he says each person should remain in the situation he was in when God called him. The day we become believers, most of us are already positioned to serve God. And if that's true, we should think twice about removing ourselves from the place God put us. Now, I don't mean to oversimplify this. Go home and study the passage for yourself. The point is, if people are going to get a look at what Jesus is doing, you have to be next to them. I mean, you already are. If they knew you before you were a Christian, redefine yourself in the light of your new faith. No wonder we want to forget. No wonder we want to sneak away and get our lives together. But if we do that, we rob the people of the chance to see Jesus change us. Worse, we may even give the impression there wasn't that much to change. We may give the impression that the change is already complete. You know, it would make me feel better to think my need for Jesus was primarily in the past. Here's the truth about me, and I believe it's the truth about you as well. I came to Jesus this morning because I need Him. Right now, right here, today. And in that need, there is no difference between me and my unbelieving neighbor. Now, that doesn't put you up here and them down there. No, it's quite the opposite. You're redefining yourself as one who knows that he needs a Savior. Someone who knows he is foolish, weak, lowly, and despised, and salvaged by the grace of Christ. There's no judgment in that. That kind of person may make the saint squirm, but he's salt on the tongue of an unbeliever. He creates a thirst for God. Stay in those relationships if you can. Love those people. If you become an outsider to unbelievers, see what you can do to get back in there and reclaim that common ground. Okay. So I'll pray for you, and you pray for me, and we'll work on this insider thing together.
Yep, when Jerry started changing, it scared me at first. But it wasn't long before I was hooked. You guys couldn't have hooked me like that.
Well, you had nothing to compare with. I mean, for all you knew, we were just nice guys.
I never thought that.
You know, guys, the point is we're getting mixed messages. I mean, nobody ever said we shouldn't tell our friends about Jesus. But there was a lot of pressure from well-meaning believers to cut those ties.
That's my point. Your attachment to Phil could bring you down. I believe your friendship constitutes an unequal yoke.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry. I don't get it.
If it came down to a choice of Phil and Jesus, what would you do?
That wouldn't happen.
But suppose it did.
It wouldn't. I don't get what you're after. Raz is my best friend.
Would you say he's a godly man?
He's not even a Christian.
That's exactly my point, Jerry. Your best friend isn't even a Christian. Let me be honest with you. I saw you and Phil coming out of a bar the other day. Now you tell me, is that a good witness?
I had only been a believer a few months, but I knew it didn't add up. I mean, I couldn't tell you why, but I knew. And then when Raz started coming to church with Linda and me, I felt, I don't know, embarrassed. You know, I was trying to put together an image of what I thought a good Christian should look like. And I'm sorry, Raz, but you didn't exactly fit that image.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
No problem. There wasn't a question you wouldn't ask. If you thought it, came right out of your mouth. No, but seriously, guys, I came very close to abandoning my best friend. Yeah, I was very confused.
Now, that was a long time ago. The point is, we were confused. When I started to trust Christ, I had a whole list of people who needed what I needed.
And would welcome a chance to unload their garbage.
That's right. That's right. You see, I didn't understand why you guys seemed to love us.
True.
Until I found myself loving them, the people on my list.
Right.
So it never occurred to me to not try and reach out to them, you know. But I felt uneasy because some of my old friends made some of my new friends kind of nervous.
If I had listened to my fear or my desire for comfort, if I had taken the advice of some Christians,
I would not be here today.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have reached Thomas.
True.
That's right. And if Linda had gotten out of the loop, Alice would be walking around with 1 foot nailed to the floor.
And we might have missed Mary Beth.
I'm glad we didn't.
I'm telling you, it's tough to be an insider. And there's some well-meaning Christians out there who say, come out from among them, join us.
But for me, at least, the new ones were just as tough. Did I ever tell you my Sunday school story?
No.
So you can see that the Jewish tabernacle is a shadowy image of a heavenly reality.
Unbelievable.
Can you see how the Holy of Holies is cut off from the people by the veil, just as the presence of God is inaccessible to humans, unless God reveals himself?
This is great.
And it is this very veil, this curtain, which separates humans from the presence of God, which was torn from top to bottom when Christ was crucified.
I'll be damned.
What?
He looked at his watch and he says,
This seems an appropriate transition point, so why don't we all just pick it up here again next week?
That's it, I'm gonna retire.
Oh, seriously, you busted up a Sunday school class?
I didn't bust up a Sunday school class. I redirected the interaction along less formal lines.
That is so funny.
Oh, it is. It's not typical, but then again, neither is Raz. And I tell you, I've seen it an awful lot. And there's this underlying attitude. I don't know, sometimes I think it's just forgetfulness, and sometimes I'm afraid it's contempt.
It's kind of like that guy at your office, Jerry.
Exactly.
But our church got better, didn't it? After time?
Yeah, I got better. When we left.
Okay, that's it. I'm going to sleep.
Me too. I'm bushed. You ready, sweetheart? And Jackie. It got better. It did. It doesn't feel like the same place these days.
Thank you. Now I can sleep.
Hey, you guys want to pray before we shut down?
No, you go on without us. Just kidding.